It's Kevin Keatsman Uncanceled on 95.7 FM, KCMO Talk Radio.
Good morning, Kansas City. Welcome to Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio 95.7 FM. A special welcome to all the members of the media listening today. Appreciate you tuning in every day at 10 o'clock to figure out what you're going to talk about later in the day or what you'll be reporting on. As Pete Mundo has pretty much had every single newsmaker on this topic on over the last year and a half, and a wide variety of commentary from all those different people on what they think would happen. And yes, it's happening today. I didn't do this in my first run in radio, 23 years of sports radio. I didn't do this, and I regretted not doing it. You need to be reminded of this. If you were listening to this show in the last year, you would be the least surprised person in Kansas City. This was completely and totally predicted that it would end this way with the Kansas City Chiefs. In a league that does not renovate stadiums, there was never a location in Missouri suitable for the Chiefs to build a new stadium. There was nothing. The chatter of tear Kauffman Stadium down and build a new stadium sounded great because you love the location or the history or the memories that you had there, but there would be no entertainment district. If they could build an entertainment district there, they would have done it. It doesn't work. A proven district works for 25 years. The Chiefs moved from 435 on I-70 to 435 on I-70. That's all they did. One of those places, an entertainment district, works. The other does not. The other location, let's just revisit a little history. Oh, remember when a fan got shot from a drive-by on I-70 sitting in Kauffman Stadium? Remember when a bullet went through Andy Reid's window at the corporate office? You remember a Chiefs Super Bowl parade where somebody was killed? You think the Chiefs have had a lot of fun working with Jackson County, Kansas City, Missouri, and the state of Missouri? The answer is no. Hell, we all knew it. And that wasn't even the reason. The number one reason, as you've heard here consistently, is money. The state of Kansas, one simple entity with no vote, nobody else to approve anything, just handed Clark Hunt $2.8 billion. I applaud Kansas because we've learned the details now that that's the maximum they will put in. It was described over the last year to people like me that this was open-ended checkbook. It only said you have to spend at least $1 billion, and we assumed Clark Hunt would get 70% of whatever he wanted to spend. And I said, why not spend $6 billion, $7 billion if the state of Kansas is paying 70%? They capped it at 2.8. That's where the 60-40 split is coming in. When they announced a 60-40 split yesterday, my eyeballs about popped out. I was like, what? Because Kansas was offering 70%, Clark's only taking 60. What kind of negotiation was that? This is a very important piece of information, and that's why you listen to this show. Here it comes. Are you ready for this? When the Chiefs and Royals renovated their stadium 17 years ago, Clark Hunt personally spent 5 times as much money on Arrowhead Stadium, percentage-wise, 5 times as much as David Glass spent on Kauffman Stadium. Let me repeat that. Clark Hunt is not cheap. Do not call this show today, and I want the billionaires to do. Clark Hunt's going to spend $2 billion. I want to be the first person on record to predict that. Clark Hunt will spend $2 billion on this stadium. He will. Do you know why? There's a couple of reasons why. They're about to drag their feet for 18 months and not do anything. Okay? They're going to have architects and engineers working for 18 months and do nothing. They'll finally scratch some dirt sometime in the summer of 27 and start building. The cost overruns from what they projected yesterday are going to be enormous. He's on the hook for all of those. And let me tell you something else. This is the inside football, the inside the NFL that you're not going to get anywhere else. Clark Hunt may be the most powerful owner in the NFL. He just got the single best deal any owner ever got. The owner of the Rams left St. Louis and purchased with his own money $5 billion worth of stadium, and that was many years ago. It would be $8 billion today. He spent it all on his own. He got no help. The Washington Commanders are getting 30% public support. These other teams don't get what Clark got. He's going to have a hard time sitting in a meeting with those other 31 owners if he walked away spending $800 million on his stadium. He would have a lot of explaining to do to those other 31 owners. So what he's going to build is not going to be cheap. It's not going to be cutting any corners. It's going to be the greatest thing that we have built in Kansas City that everyone will be proud of. We got a lot of nice things that we like. We love T-Mobile Center. We like the new terminal at the airport. We've had some great developments. A lot of folks like the Nelson Atkins. There's a lot of things out there people like. When this brick and mortar thing is done, it's going, for everyone in Kansas City that is complaining about this today, you're all going to go see it. Trust me. You're going to take a tour. You're going to do something. You may not go to a game. You may not whatever. You're going to go look at it and you're going to go, oh my God, look what we built in Kansas City. And it will still be the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, I've got two things I want to say to residents on both sides of the state. The first is for the people of Missouri. And don't take offense to this. I've been a property owner and a business owner in Missouri. My first job out of college, I lived in Missouri. I'm a Missourian in a Kansas. I'm a Kansas Citian. Okay? Get over this and get over it quickly. Nobody in Kansas ever gave a spit about driving to Missouri to go see a football game. Nor did anybody in Kansas ever care that they were leaving an airport in Missouri. I got to go to Missouri to go to the airport. It's not a thing anywhere in America except Missouri on the Kansas City side. That's it. This is the only place this exists. Nobody else cares. You think guys that work on Wall Street in Lower Manhattan care that the Giants and Jets play in New Jersey across the river? They don't care. They don't care. All right, grow up, act your age. You kept your team. Kansans, don't even think about it. I'm talking, you know who you are. Don't even think about making T-shirts that say Kansas Chiefs. Don't do it. Or Kansas City, Kansas Chiefs. Don't do it. Don't do it. Could we finally just be a city and say this is a great thing for our city and it really doesn't matter where this thing is. It's just got to work for the team and work for all of us fans and work for everybody in sports media and business and everything that's coming. Can we not on this one just say this is a great thing? And you members of the media that are out there crying that they're closing down Arrowhead, have you never covered sports before? Have you never been to another city and another stadium? I'm sorry. Sam McDowell wrote a piece today in the Kansas City. Oh, there's only one party it was responsible for this. That was the headline. Like, oh, is the Republicans or Democrats? No, then he blames it on the Chiefs. I'm like, Sam McDowell, have you never covered sports? Have you never listened to this show? We've been for 2 years on my podcast. I've been saying these teams are going to Kansas. The money's too good. And new buildings, when somebody's paying it for you at the ratio Kansas is, new buildings are where it's at, not renovations. At least the Royals were up front about it. You want to be mad at somebody? Be mad at the Chiefs for lying to you. They kept lying yesterday, and I will call them liars. They lied the entire process. They were never renovating Arrowhead. It was complete BS. Their renderings were a joke. I personally think they hijacked the election, tied with the Royals. I don't think they wanted any part of that thing passing. We never saw one rendering or remodel of Arrowhead that made any sense at all. None. Not zero. The Chiefs were disingenuous. They wanted to save it until 2 days before Christmas when people get preoccupied about something else and announce this. And they lied their faces off when they said they decided this Friday afternoon. I'm sorry. I've been doing this too long. You're liars. We knew you were going to Kansas. You've known this for a long time. I reported a year ago. I hadn't been here a month, and I was reporting on this radio station that Mark Donovan had made up his mind, that it was a new stadium in Kansas, and all he needed to do was make sure the Hunts were on board and that some legacy of Lamar Hunt wasn't in the way. And I said, legacy of Lamar Hunt? He moved the team from Dallas to Kansas City and then was in 2 different stadiums in Kansas City. Lamar Hunt's legacy is to move to a better place. That is Lamar Hunt's legacy. He was a visionary, whatever. This is Clark's vision. Clark's vision is a Super Bowl. I will also be the person today that predicts that we get 2 Super Bowls. They may be 15 years apart, but I'll bet Kansas City gets back in the rotation. You know why? You want to be mad at the billionaires? Do you want to know why we're going to get a second one? Because Clark Hunt is the leader of the owners. They're following his lead in this league. And there was no way he was renovating Arrowhead Stadium. No chance. After he talked how many owners the last 15 years? A dozen? Into building new stadiums? He's going to go cheap and renovate? No chance. Was never happening. And Missouri didn't have a place for the stadium. It never existed. So sorry. Don't bring me your sob story about moving across the state line. I don't care about the state line. Kansans, don't be dicks. Yes, I said that. Don't. Just don't. Just don't. All right? If you're running around with your chest puffed out that, hey, we got an NFL team in Kansas, good for you. That's enough. Keep it to yourself. Don't poke anybody in the chest. I don't care about this KUMU crap either. All right? If that's what this is now, if it once was the Civil War and now it's KUMU, I don't care. That doesn't belong in this discussion. I'm tired of Mayor Lucas. He had a news conference yesterday. He was on with Pete today. He sounded like a whiner and like he was just totally butthurt on this thing. Give it up, Mayor Q. You didn't do anything wrong. You couldn't save this team. And you almost certainly can't. Well, you can't save the Royals. The Royals are not going to be in Kansas City, Missouri. They're going to be in North Kansas City if they're anywhere in Missouri. So you're out. It's not your fault, Mayor Q. Listen to me. You think I'm one of your harshest critics. This wasn't you. It wasn't Governor Kehoe. It wasn't any of these people. The Chiefs weren't staying. It's a lie. The whole thing was a fraud. You've known it. You knew the money was too good. You knew the locations were too good. I would love to see Clay County have the Royals. But I think in the end, the Royals are going to say, you know what? The money's better in Kansas. We don't want to put a vote in front of the taxpayers because they'll have to pass a vote in Missouri. And the richest people in the world are right there at 119th and Knoll. That's where the money is. Do you not know in sports they follow the money? Oh, but Arrowhead, this and that. Do you realize when the Chiefs leave Arrowhead, it's going to be the last stadium in America from the 1970s? This was the wasteland of stadium construction in this country. It was the worst decade of stadium construction in the history of America. We made it this long because we didn't build the cookie cutter that had a baseball and a football team in it. We had two stadiums, and that lasted a long time. It was a great value for Jackson County and Missouri and all the things. But time moves on, and the money is moving to Kansas. If you want to be angry at anything in this town and you don't live in Johnson County, hate on Johnson County. That's your real problem. In the end, that's going to be the real problem, is there's a centralization of money in Johnson County, Kansas, in this metro area that makes other people upset, and that's what this is about. That stadium being close to Johnson County is nice. The practice facility clearly is going to be close to where everybody that works and plays for the Chiefs will be living. And the only people with any complaint in any of this are Chiefs players. Because if Patrick Mahomes signs an extension for $500 million and starts playing in 2031, and Governor Kehoe gets the tax rate down to 0 in Missouri, Patrick Mahomes will be well on his way to spending $30 million personally himself in Kansas income tax that he wouldn't be paying in Missouri. Let me repeat that again. For all you people worried about the taxes and the money in the state of Kansas and, oh, my God, how can they do this? For all you people freaking out about that stuff, Patrick Mahomes alone, this is going to cost him $30 million if Governor Kehoe gets his way in Missouri. And you cannot be the person in Kansas, you cannot be the person that says Kansas got screwed here, Kansas taxpayers got screwed, without saying Missouri taxpayers should be dancing in the streets. Why isn't there a celebration in Missouri? If this is such a bad thing for Kansas taxpayers, why aren't people in Missouri dancing in the streets that they are the big winner here? Their sales tax is going away in Jackson County. It's gone. It's toast. That's money back in their pockets. Why aren't we celebrating that? Where's the news conference? Woo-hoo! 0.3% sales tax is gone. We are Missouri. Our income tax is going down. We win. You take the Chiefs. Governor Kehoe should have a news conference. Thank the people of Kansas for taking the burden away from the state of Missouri, keeping the team here. They're still the Kansas City Chiefs. Everybody knows where Kansas City is, that it's in Missouri, and take a victory lap and say, we're lowering your taxes, and Jackson County's lowering your property taxes. Missourians are the big winner. He blew that chance yesterday. He looked like somebody shot his dog because this thing became emotional instead of business. And that's why these things happen. I have some stunning numbers for you on the state of Kansas, their tax situation, their revenues, and their surplus over the duration of this show. We'll open it up to your phone calls. If you'd like to join me, jump right in. 913-408-7957. That's 408-7957. This is Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio. Welcome back to the show. Everybody buzzing in Kansas City about the Chiefs building a new dome stadium. at the Legends in Kansas City, Kansas, and training facilities, corporate offices in Olathe at K10 and Ridgeview. Everybody buzzing about this. We'll take your phone calls, 913-408-7957. Coming up in a few minutes, I've got some stunning numbers about the state of Kansas and why this hysteria is completely misplaced. We start today with Mark calling in from Shawnee. Good morning, Mark. How's your world today?
Hey, Kevin, how you doing?
Fine, thank you.
Good. Hey, you know me. I met you one time a week or two ago at the Red Door. I've followed your show for a long time.
Oh, yeah? Okay. How you doing?
Yeah. Good, real good.
Good.
I got a quick story for you that I thought that I would just share with everybody who listens to this. I worked with NASCAR back in the late 90s when they originally thought they should, consider building a speedway here in Kansas City. And originally the owner of NASCAR was Bill France Jr., and he came in town with Richard Petty, and they really wanted to build the track up by KCI in Missouri. And a lot of land up there,
right?
Real convenient to the airport. And I remember then Mayor Emanuel Cleaver kind of stepped in and said, "No way, we do not want that up there. Too much noise, too much congestion. Didn't want it."
I'll take your word for it. I know that was their first choice, and in whatever happened at the time between Kansas City, Missouri, that county, and the state of Missouri didn't work out. But ultimately, we have history that shows us the star bonds are what bring these people. And they got that deal at Kansas Speedway. They were the first tenant in. And if I'm not mistaken, they used star bond money to buy all the land. They're essentially the landlord. They're selling land to the Chiefs. The Chiefs are buying that land from the France family. The Chiefs are, let me repeat that. I think everybody needs to know this. The Chiefs will have to buy that, or this, whatever, Wyandotte County, whoever owns the stadium, will be buying that land from the people that own NASCAR. They own all the land.
That's correct. They own it all. And they bought that. And Carol Marinovich, who ran the United, government then, she said, we'll take it. And I'll never forget that. They said, well, who are you? And they said, we're on the Kansas side, and we're at I-70 and 435, two major intersections. And NASCAR said, we're very interested. There was nothing out there. There was 114 single-family homes out there. And, of course, they exercised the eminent domain, and people, long story short, were taken care of. But
right.
there was nothing out there. And I volunteered the first year for the race in 2000 there was nothing out there. And that could have been at KCI. It really could have been in Missouri.
It totally could. And I know people in Missouri that remember that, and they're upset about that. I had one of them call me yesterday, and he said, we just keep losing stuff right and left. I'm like, well, I don't know, anything about that. But I heard a guy on with Pete earlier today that said the Chiefs moving to the Legends is the same as a small town getting a Walmart. I'm like, what? Like the same economic impact of a Walmart is what he was saying? Let's take the whole Legends now, 20 years later, now that it's all open and done. What is the economic impact of that area for the state of Kansas? That would be my question. What if we took that out of the budget in Kansas? What if we took all the jobs, all the sales tax, all the income taxes, everything that happens there, and we just turn that back into farmland? What would happen in Topeka with the money they're collecting these days?
Yeah, it'd be huge.
Exactly.
It's going to be gigantic.
Gigantic.
But anyway, I thought I'd share that story with you. I thought that was so interesting. And Carol Marinovich, she really one who got the whole thing going out there. And again, there was nothing out there. Next thing you know, Nebraska Furniture Mart.
I remember. It was thank you, Mark. Great call. Yeah. I remember saying many times on sports radio, and all due respect, when I grew up in Kansas City, I think John probably remembers this as well. If you mentioned Wyandotte County to somebody, you were basically saying, well, that's the place you don't want to go in Kansas City. Like, there's nothing happening in Wyandotte County. There's no business development. There's no subdivisions being built, new housing, things like that. You're like, no. And there was I worked with Nate Bucati for many, many years at Sports Radio 810. He's a great guy. And he would joke, that he was from the Dot or whatever. And there was a stigma in this town against that area. The NASCAR Speedway tore that down. When that thing got built, it completely fundamentally changed Kansas City, Kansas, and Wyandotte County for the better. These are good things. This is progress. It is change, and a lot of people don't like that. But change is good, and this is going to be really, really good for Kansas City. 913-408-7957. This is Uncanceled on KCMO. Great to have you listening on this Christmas Eve. Where it's foggy outside. I love it when it's foggy in the winter because that means it's warm. Oh, that's a good thing. It's going to be nice today. They say it's going to burn off and be sunny this afternoon and a gorgeous day tomorrow. So we're looking forward to that. Let me preface our next caller by saying it takes something big to flush this man out to call this show. Not because he doesn't listen every day, but he doesn't want all the sports radio hosts in this town to know that he listens every day. I feel like that's part of it. He used to call my old radio show all the time. It is Tommy Moe. How are you, Tommy Moe? What's up in your world, buddy?
Hey, just sitting, as your promo says, Lenexa. I'm in Lee Summit. So sitting in Lee Summit, you used the word progress to kind of end your last segment. And when it comes to Kansas City, what progress have I seen in the last 5 years, the last 15 years, the last 20 years? Tell me if I'm right or wrong. Did we not? Was the soccer complex wasn't Bannister Mall supposed to be maybe a position where the soccer complex was going to be?
Yes.
Am I right or wrong?
That's correct. And then Cerner decided that was not good for soccer. Because there was more money with Star Bonds, and they were building their corporate headquarters there. Oracle owns that land and those buildings now, but Cerner was building out some corporate headquarters there. But they got a better deal. The Star Bonds were a better deal, so they built their stadium at the Legends.
Okay. So once again, Kansas, I did Missouri. We're going to host the World Cup this summer. Kevin, let me ask you this. When's the last time you physically have driven from downtown Kansas City, Missouri, to the stadium taking I-70?
I have taken it back a couple times, but not there. If that makes any sense, for a variety of reasons.
I understand.
But yes, I've driven that stretch, not necessarily for game. If we're talking about what is between the stadium and downtown, I've driven it many times, not on game day.
Okay. I'm talking it just on any day. So this summer I drove it.
Yeah.
And I looked around and I said, this looks like a war zone.
Yeah, it's not good.
Cones, garbage. And this has nothing to do to disparage the people that live from downtown Missouri, Kansas City, Missouri, to the stadium. That was this summer. So I drive it once or twice a week, and it still looks horrible. And if this is what our city is going to pronounce to the rest of the world, somebody needs to get on somebody's butt, because it's embarrassing, Kevin. Like I said, it looks like Bosnia in the 90s.
Yeah. And let me follow up on your point. It's not their fault, and it's not about the people that live there. I mentioned on my podcast this morning, Tommy, I grew up at 61st and Knoll. And it was a very modest upbringing. We just loved it. I had a great childhood, wonderful, loving parents, the whole deal. We thought it was the coolest thing ever that 3 blocks down was a very small building. It was the headquarters of the NCAA. Like, you can't believe how small that building is now. That was really cool. And then we had Mission Bowl down the street. We're like, hey, there's a bowling alley down here. Then they came along and built something called the Mission Center Mall. Okay? And, man, we thought Mission hit the big time. That's the ugliest place in Kansas City now. Okay, these houses were built in the 40s and 50s, right after World War II. The Mission Mall has been blight. It has been empty land for what, close to 20 years now, 15 years? It is an eyesore. I think they just settled who's going to own it. Who knows what they're going to do with it, if anything at all. There are pockets of this town where, for whatever reason, we get so stagnant and let them fall apart and don't do anything about them that it drives you crazy. And that spot is only a couple of miles from the plaza.
Agreed. And like I said, it's just embarrassing. We're going to host the world this summer, and if we put on a bad face, people want us hosting the Super Bowl, even though it's in Kansas. People are going to still say, well, Kansas City, it looked horrible. I just can't believe what it looks like.
Downtown to the stadium.
The physicality of the road,
yeah.
Cones in the road, garbage, brush. It just looks horrible. And for a present mayor of Kansas City, his legacy, you mentioned it very early, and and Mario called a show last week. And if you remember Mario, he called Petro's show, and he was very down on Frank White and Mayor Lucas. And I can see why. Because progress, I don't see a lot in Kansas City, Missouri. I'm sorry.
All right. Tommy, great to hear from you. Merry Christmas, my friend.
Back at you.
All right. So everybody's complaining that Kansas is spending this money. And somehow your sales tax that you pay when you buy something within some border that you don't see is different to you because you're spending it and it's going to a team. Would you rather it go to SNAP benefits for illegal aliens? I wouldn't. This is a discussion I've had with my friends. We have no problem with this money going to the Chiefs for this project. We think it's great for Kansas City. We think it's great for the state of Kansas. We think these things are great. Don't worry about what I choose to do with my sales tax money when I go buy something. All right, all you fake people out there worrying about, the Starbond district and this border and that border, who cares? They're currently charging sales tax there. There's going to be a boatload of new revenue from this that's going to generate sales tax. Not all of it. And the district's going to be big. But the state of Kansas, ladies and gentlemen, has a $3 billion surplus. Listen to this. In 2023, the state of Kansas made a $2.6 billion profit. In 2024, they made a $3.2 billion profit. This year, everybody's complaining because it's only a $2.1 billion profit they're going to make. And I'm calling it a profit. You can call it a surplus all you want. It's a profit, okay? The number is down by $1 billion this year because Governor Kelly went nuts. Government spending in Kansas in the last 3 years is up 106%. They've hired 6,000 new employees. It's the opposite of Trump. Kansas has so much money that your liberal governor is just buying government jobs up. Let's hire some people. Let's put some more staffers in here. Let's create government jobs. Why? That's more Democrat votes. You bring them into Kansas, especially if you can bring them in from another state. Bring them in from out of state, hire them up 6,000 deep, and get 6,000 new voters. Folks, you want to get angry about something in the state of Kansas? You get angry that they've been sitting there holding your money, not spending it. They could pay the $2.8 billion to the Chiefs today with one check, and this thing's over, and there is no star bond. You want to get mad about taxes? There's a lot of things to get mad about. How about abortion funding and the abortion laws in Kansas? You want to start in on that? Let's talk about that. How do you like the argument from people that you're getting ripped off in Kansas because of this sales tax now going to the Chiefs because they're billionaires? What you're arguing is, wait a second, if that's your argument, if you're really concerned about the star bond districting and, they're taking this money and they're giving it to an owner of a football team, what you're arguing is, I really love the way Kansas is spending my money. They're perfect. Everything they're spending is perfect. It's spot on. We love where, they're going to take money away from all these good things in Kansas and give it to a greedy football owner. That's your argument? You like the way Kansas spends the money they've got. You've lost your mind. There is no common sense argument there. I've not heard one. I've been doing this show for over a year. Somebody call me. Just anybody right now call me and tell me you love how your government spends the money. I want to hear it. I want to hear you say, there's a $28 billion budget in Kansas, and boy, they're spot on the way they spend this money. We love what they give the illegal aliens. We like the dead people that are on SNAP benefits. Oh, God, it's great. The people in Kansas got it figured out. This government's awesome. We can't take any of that money away and give it to a football team. Are you serious? Your argument is you like the way the government is spending your money? They gave $75 million to KU football. They didn't even have to ask for it. Laura Kelly just writes them a check. And she says, COVID funds. COVID funds to KU football? You took money from Joe Biden in the COVID ripoff and gave it to KU football, and they still didn't sell out this year. It's unbelievable, the government waste that's out there. Don't talk to me about getting an NFL team. This is the smallest state to ever have an NFL team. 2.9 million residents. It's a hell of a deal they just pulled off. It's going to be fine. There is no new tax. If you want to try to make an argument that somebody who lives in Newton, Kansas, somehow is going to be affected, that never spends a nickel of this sales tax, that something gets taken, that a service gets taken away from them, let me remind you that human services the last 3 years in Kansas have increased 82%. Not 8.2, 82%. Laura Kelly's your governor. She's drunk, okay? She's crazy. You want to make an argument about this Chiefs thing? She hated this idea in the beginning, and now she loves it. So they can put a plaque of her at the new stadium and say, Laura Kelly was the governor when this was passed, and she'll forever be memorialized right there in that stadium. And all her great-grandchildren can come in there and go, oh, God, she was such a great governor. But what she's really been doing is increasing human services by 82%. Do not call this show and tell me that the sales tax and these districts for the star bonds are some big grift on the Kansas taxpayer. You know what's a grift on the Kansas taxpayer? The last 3 years, education spending is up 50%. You know what's included in that? $75 million for a KU football stadium. I didn't hear anybody call this show and bitch about it. Not one. Folks, don't do it. You're absolutely, you've lost your minds on this. There are so many bigger things to take away from the state budget in Kansas than this football thing. They have so much money sitting in the bank right now, they could literally pay this off right now today. They could convene the legislature and say, you know what, let's just take our surplus and give it to the Chiefs. And it's over. That's it. It's done. The rest is on Clark. They could do that, but why would you? If you're taking in billions of dollars more money every year than you're spending, what the hell is wrong with getting a football team? This ain't some broke state. This isn't Kansas City, Missouri, okay, with their giant deficit. That's not what's happening here. For whatever reason, a tiny little state that is losing population, the single most important thing in the state of Kansas right now is to find a way for people to come live here. That is the most important long-term issue in the state of Kansas. We need more residents. And I'm not talking about illegal aliens. I'm talking about people that want to be citizens, that want to pay taxes, that want to move here and raise their family and go to church and be married and have children, all these things. That's what Kansas needs, and that's what they see by luring the Chiefs. They think Kansas is going to become cool because of this. It may not. I don't know. From what I can tell, Kansas is just building one apartment after another. The only good thing I can say about it is at least they're new. They're not falling apart. They're not run down. They're high end. They're nice. The little young liberals that come in there, driving their Subarus, and they got their nice little jobs, and they're doing what they do. That's fine. But I don't know that this is a great plan for Kansas. The better plan is things that bring families, things that bring real jobs. I don't know if anybody in Kansas City that works at Lockton is going to move because they're crossing the state line. But I know this, there are people like Patrick Mahomes that live in Missouri that he may not. He may wind up selling his property and building something out here in Kansas, closer to where he's going to be working every day. That's going to be a win for Kansas. The sales, the income tax is going to be a win for Kansas. There's a lot of things there. But when your government spending has increased by 106% and you've added 6,000 new government jobs for no reason at all, let's be honest, no reason. You're cooking along, you're running at a surplus. Oh my God, we got this money. Let's hire more government workers. No, I got a way bigger beef with that than the Kansas City Chiefs. Human services up 82%. That dude that came on with Mundo earlier today is like, oh, some guy out there in western Kansas doesn't like this. They're going to be taking something away from him. Taking away what? Because human services are up 82%. When did anybody take away human services? Help me out here. Name the one time that somebody took away human services. Nah, this is all ridiculous. All right, we got Brad on the line. What's up, Brad? How are you today? Fred. I'm sorry, Fred. Go ahead.
Yeah, Kevin, I just want to say 2 wrongs don't make a right. And I'm all for the Chiefs in Kansas if they want to pay for their own stadium, build it, and act like any other business. I don't like government spending. I don't like bigger government and higher taxes. But 2 wrongs don't make a right.
Well, he's going to spend $2 billion of his own money on this project. That's not nothing.
Okay, well, we're starting off at 3, and it's going to end
No. I'm talking about his part. We're at 4.4 today. Kansas is maxed out at 2. Kansas is maxed out at 2.8. This thing is going to wind up being closer to 5 or 6 by the time it's done. Clark Hunt is easily going to have $2 billion in this project. So don't be bringing that he's not putting anything in this, whatever. I'm telling you, this is a good deal for Kansas. I don't care what anybody says. This is a good deal. Getting them is a good deal, and it's a great thing for Kansas City that we have an awesome, incredible stadium for the next generation and events and things that will take place here the quality of life is going up. To me, it's about quality of life. I don't care about expanding the government by 102%. Uninterested. That's not a quality of life issue for anyone. That's bloat and ridiculous. It doesn't do anything for anybody. That's like saying government workers are welfare workers. Let's just bring them in here and you're on welfare. Here's Alex in Linwood. Good morning, Alex.
Kevin, I don't know what your deal is and why you're fluffing the Hunts and Mahomes Patrick and the Clark and all them so much.
Fluffing him. Mahomes should be the one complaining. It's going to cost him $30 million.
I don't care.
I didn't say you did care. I'm putting it into perspective for you.
Okay. In perspective, what about all the residents of the state of Kansas who are, you just said, wasteful spending in the state of Kansas? So now not only are we wasting billions of dollars and have a surplus of money, but we're giving the Mahomes and the Chiefs all this extra money.
Right.
It's wasteful spending on top of it.
Agreed. Well, it's not wasteful spending. It's the same spending. There is no new tax. What you and I are in agreement on here is this. Kansas has been sitting on billions of dollars for 3 years. They have not lowered taxes, and they have not returned any of it to the taxpayers. Because guess why? Laura Kelly is never going to return the money. She's not. We need a Republican governor. And then if $3 billion is sitting there, maybe we all get a fat check. And maybe they'll lower our income taxes. But it isn't going to happen while she's there.
The taxes are going to be increased, and we're paying more and more.
No, they're not going to increase the taxes. What tax is going up?
Everything is.
No, you're wrong. You're wrong. You got to go. I'm sorry. We don't allow that here. You're out. That's 2 days in a row I've ejected. You're gone. No, your taxes are not going up. The income taxes are not going up. The sales taxes are not going up. There is no new tax here. That's incorrect. Can't do it. Not on this show. Not going to happen. Paul's in Overland Park. Good morning, Paul.
Hey, Kevin. You know, we talk about the Chiefs movie. The Chiefs are a destination. You've been around sports. You know, every one of these big football teams, you go into a football game, it's a destination. Going out to Jerry's World in Arlington, it's a destination. But, you know, the thing about it is where people have to take a look at is we didn't get a new airport because of Kansas City. We got a new airport because of Sam Brownback throwing the first salvo to build the new airport at DeSoto where Panasonic is.
Yeah.
So here's the thing, and you start thinking about it, is that's also a use tax, right? If you don't fly, you don't pay a tax, correct?
I don't know exactly what the use taxes are at KCI, but they should have a landing tax that goes straight to Kansas City, Missouri.
But if you're not on a plane, if you don't fly out of Kansas City,
no question.
You're not paying a tax.
That's correct.
Right. So here's the big thing I got to come back to, and Laura Kelly's kind of fallen into the same trap as Quentin Lucas, as Jackson County. They are spending money in areas that aren't going to create growth. And if anybody has to take a real hard look at it, it's Jackson County and Kansas City, because if I had my druthers outside of the vote, baseball should be in downtown Kansas City. But because of the way these governments are being run, you're not going to see it happen because of their poor leadership and their poor economic status.
I think you
Everybody
make excellent
doesn't want
points.
to be a part.
You make excellent points. Thank you. I'm up against a break, man. Those are excellent points. I'm not.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, thank you. Excellent points. I will say this: 119th and Knoll versus downtown right now would be quite a battle for the Royals. They'd have a lot of decisions to make between the crime, the security, and all the things downtown, and the money that they're looking at, and the people that live close to 119th and Knoll. I think it would be quite a competition. That would be legit, but there is no downtown option at this point for the Royals. That doesn't exist. It's North Kansas City or it's Overland Park. This is Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio. Mark Van Sickle's putting together a staff parlay for Christmas Day, which will be fun. You're out tomorrow. I'll be here on Uncanceled. What do you have planned for Christmas? And tell me about this parlay thing we're supposed to do for Christmas Day.
Yeah, we're driving up to Iowa tomorrow, so yeah, I'll have a couple days off. But yeah, this pass the leg parlay on FanDuel is going to be fun. So you can do your own leg of the parlay and then pass it along to a friend who can add to it. And you can just pick each game, something from each game. So like I'm going to do CeeDee Lamb 50 yards receiving. I'm going to do a receiver for the Broncos because I'm not picking anybody from the Chiefs, obviously.
Okay. But isn't the idea if you just pick one thing, how many things did you pick?
I just picked one from each game, so 3 total.
3 total. Okay. So your objective would be for me to pick one.
Yeah, 1 or 3, either way.
I'd probably just add 1.
Okay.
We get too crazy on this thing, we got no chance of winning, man. You know me, I'm very conservative on these things.
Very true, very true.
I'm so conservative on these parlays, so I may add 1 link to that thing. We work on that. Have a wonderful and blessed Christmas with your family, buddy. You're the best.
Thanks. You as well.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I think John's going to be in here tomorrow. Patrick Tua will be in here. Thanks to Pete Mundo for all he's done this year. Hope he has a great holiday with his family. What a great time of year, folks. And if this stuff stresses you out about the stadium and stuff, just take a chill pill, man. Relax, open some presents, sip a little hot cocoa, and love your life. It's all good. God is great.